to another episode of Betz Talks Ball here on the Betz Talks Ball YouTube channel. My name is Jeremy Betz, and I am here to discuss all things football from the weekend that was in the NFL. And the NFL has some down weeks. This was kind of one of those weeks, but it still delivers some really good performances. Obviously, you have highlight player performances and highlight team performances and some highlight games as well. We didn't have like a game of the year candidate this week, and that's okay because we had some good football to talk about, and we'll dive into a lot of it here, just like last week. This is episode 2 of the Betz Talks Ball podcast, and you can obviously like this video and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it if you did that. Get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about some of the different things we're going to talk about today. This is also going to post every week on the Pro Football Insiders podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts, whether that's Apple or Spotify. It's going to be wherever you get your podcasts. So be sure to check it out there as well. If you need the drive along version or whatever on your work day or on your travel day, just be sure to tune in. And I obviously appreciate all the support as I'm getting this rolling. We're going to be doing this every week, just like last week. I'll tee it up again because we're still pretty new to this. And if you're seeing this for the first time, I want you to be aware what we're trying to accomplish on the show. We'll kind of go over the week that was in kind of a generic overview to start out the show. We'll talk about a game of the week and then a dumpster fire of the week as well, before we go to the break. And then in the second half of the show, it's my Take 5 session where you get my 5 takes from the week that was in the NFL. And then we'll look ahead to the upcoming schedule and see what stands out to us there. So buckle up. We are going to roll with it starting now on Betz Talks Ball. Thank you all for tuning in. Okay, week 6, 2 teams on bye. You had the Houston Texans and the Minnesota Vikings. The Minnesota Vikings had just had a 2-game stand overseas, so they deserved their rest time. They're getting it this week. Or they got it this week, I should say. The Houston Texans obviously coming off their win against the Baltimore Ravens last week in impressive fashion. Easily their best game of the season. They needed to have some good momentum going into something like that and going into the bye week, right? So they get that. So we didn't get to see either of those 2 teams play, but a pretty full slate of games in the NFL. And, we had some banger matchups going into the week. You had Buccaneers, Niners. You had Eagles, Chiefs. I'm sorry, not Eagles, Chiefs, Lions, Chiefs in Arrowhead. And you had Seahawks, Jaguars, and those kind of all ended up being fairly one-sided affairs. It wasn't like their opponents laid down, right? But the Chiefs handled the Lions. There were moments where it was in doubt, but the Chiefs kind of handled business against the Lions at home, got to 500, reestablished themselves. We'll talk about them a little bit later. The Lions, they lose, but they don't have anything to regret from it. I guess I would say that they're fine. They still land at number 2 in my power rankings this week. So I'm not ready to say that the Lions are about to fall off some cliff. The Chiefs are a really good team. The Seahawks, they've been the better team, the more complete team than the Jacksonville Jaguars through 5 weeks. And then in week 6, they show it in that matchup. They scored 20 unanswered points in that game to go up 20-6. The Jaguars scored another touchdown to make it 20-12. And that's where things fell in that one. So Seahawks take down the Jags. And then the Buccaneers, they are proving week in and week out that they've got staying power in the league, and they take down a banged up Niner squad that had been winning, though. The San Francisco 49ers under Kyle Shanahan have been doing really well despite their injuries, and this week they couldn't hang with the Buccaneers, so a good win for the Bucs there. And then you had some of the other games, if you will, that um, we can talk about the Broncos keep winning, the Rams keep winning. It was against a bad Ravens team that's banged up. The Chargers pull out a close victory. The Colts got all they could handle from the Cardinals. The Panthers they improved to 3-3 and dropped the Cowboys to 2-3-1 with an impressive offensive showing there. Neither team had defense there. The Steelers they keep rolling in the AFC North. They're 4-1 and nobody else is above 500 in that division. In fact, all three of their division mates lost for the third week in a row. Excuse me. The Steelers are the clear leaders in the AFC North right now. The Pats continue to roll. The Raiders and Titans, that was just a really bad matchup. We'll talk about them a little bit later. So I guess overall you had, just kind of like a generic week in the NFL. The teams who were supposed to win, for the most part, won. And there were some good bets to make this year. Or this week, excuse me. You could have had a nice day betting. I know I did this week. It was a lot of fun. Haven't had a week like that yet this season, so this was a good week for me. So maybe we'll throw in some betting nuggets on this show down the road here, but we'll see. I don't know if I want to get into that yet. I need to get better at it first. But, the Packers took down the Bengals. And then Monday Night Football, I'm recording this after the Monday night games. Just a ton of fun. This Monday night slate. The Falcons took down the Bills 24-14. And the game of the week, though, ladies and gentlemen, the Bears at Commanders. Bears win 25-24 in just a super exciting fashion. Redemption arcs all over the place. Obviously, the Hail Mary win last year in this matchup between the number 1 overall pick in 2024, Caleb Williams, the number 2 overall pick, Jane Daniels. Daniels had the much better year. Daniels had the Hail Mary completion to win this game last year in prime, or no, I believe that was Sunday afternoon actually when that happened, but this one gets moved to prime time this year. And in this one, the Bears lead going into the second half, and then the Commanders come storming back to take the lead and kind of hold the lead until the end of this game. At one point, they were up 24 to, let's see, it was 24 to 16 on the Bears, and the Bears scored a touchdown to make it 22-24, but they missed the 2-point conversion. Caleb Williams doesn't see a wide open McNichols in the flat and throws it away. And it's just not, they're unable to tie it up. And then they get a fumble on the Jaden Daniels ensuing drive as they're kind of moving into range to ice this thing. A fumbled snap, a fumbled handoff exchange, and the Bears pounce on it. They get new life, and they get down the field in field goal range. DeAndre Swift had a fantastic game closing this one out. And Jake Moody, redemption arc candidate, right, after his horrendous tenure in San Francisco, comes out 4 of 5 field goals on the day. His one miss was a block, and it was a bad kick, probably would have missed anyway, but then he gets out there for the 40-yard attempt to win the game and drills it, and the Bears win. The Bears move to 3-2. The Commanders fall to 3-3. These two teams are very, very close. I think Daniels and the Commanders, they went off last year. They overachieved. The Bears underachieved because the coaching staff was horrible. The offensive line was horrible. The defense was okay, but the pass rush wasn't any good. This year, a lot more of those things are clicking. These two teams are much more evenly matched, and you saw that in this game, and the Bears come away with the thrilling Monday Night Football win in the later game, the 8:15 game here, to stay in the mix in their own division. The division-leading Lions are 4-2. The Bears are a game out of that, a game and a half if you count the Lions' dominant win over the Bears earlier this season. The Packers are 3-2-1 after their win over the Bengals earlier, 3-1-1, excuse me. So, they're right behind the Lions and the Bears here, or Lions and the Packers here in the division. And then the Vikings are in the mix too. So this is a funky division. It's a fun division, and we'll see how it all plays out. The Vikings obviously were on their bye week this week. So that was the game of the week. Lots of fun. I hope you got a chance to see it. If you didn't go back, check out the recap, the highlights. It was one of those Monday nighters that not like crazy back and forth offensive scoring, but intriguing, good gameplay on both sides, hard fought. The Bears come away with a victory. And then the dumpster fire of the week, we give it to you, Tennessee, because you lose again, fall to 1-5. Your only win this season was against the Arizona Cardinals, when really the Arizona Cardinals did the most beat yourself game ever, and you barely squeak out that one. And then Brian Callahan, it's announced on Monday, is fired as the head coach of the Tennessee Titans. And so it's a full reset there. And you had Cam Ward's looking rough. I mean, it's just a really tough situation for him. He's getting no help, and the coaching staff wasn't helping him out. So we'll see where the Tennessee Titans turn, but just a rough start to the year for Tennessee. A rough tenure overall for Brian Callahan. 4-19 in his career as a head coach for Tennessee. They were in the bottom fourth of the league in every advanced metric, offensive and defensive. Their offensive line was horrendous. The quarterback play was bad. The defense was only okay at times. They were a good pass rush, but nothing else was working. So Brian Callahan's out, and there's your dumpster fire of the week. They lost in, I mean, it wasn't embarrassing fashion, but the Raiders are one of the worst teams in the league, and the Raiders were up 20-0 in this game at one point before the Titans rattled off 10 points to make it look fairly respectable. It may have been 20-3 at one point, actually. And then the Raiders pull away there. But the Titans just not in the mix this year. They're just a bad team. The Jets are a bad team. They would have been my dumpster fire of the week. But they were tough on defense against the Broncos. But they fall to 0-6, and they feel like their coach could be one and done. Aaron Glenn, potentially. Miami Dolphins feel like Mike McDaniel could be done here soon. But for this week, the Titans get the dumpster fire of the week set because their head coach is out the door. It's a full-on reset over there. Not a lot of hope out there for Titans fans right now. All right, we're going to take our break. When we come back, take 5 here on the Betz Talks Ball show here on the Betz Talks Ball YouTube channel. Talk to you here in just a minute. We're back here on Betz Talks Ball. It's Jeremy Betz here with you still, and we're going to get right into the Take 5 for Week 6. And let's start at the top, where I think we have to. With the Lions losing to the Chiefs, I have a new number 1 team in my power rankings. And shooting up from number 4 after Week 5, their win again against an NFC rival that was 4-1. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers move into the top spot. And my first take of the week is that the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL right now. They're banged up. They are fighting against all of the injury demons that some of these other teams are, especially in the wide receiver room. On the offensive side of the ball, they're missing some offensive linemen, but still, they go out there and Josh Grizzard has a game plan that is ready to be executed flawlessly. Not flawlessly. That's generous, too generous, but with aplomb by Baker Mayfield and company. Baker Mayfield is my MVP pick so far. He's been incredible. He makes every single play you ask him to, and even the ones you wouldn't ask him to. It's just so impressive how he gets out and scrambles, how he extends plays, how he makes something out of nothing regularly. He's not making a bunch of mistakes. He's willing to put the ball in harm's way to make a play, but it's not resulting in a bunch of mistakes right now. And maybe that turns down the road, but right now, uh, he was missing his top 3 wide receiving targets in this game. Chris Godwin was out. Mike Evans was out. And then Emeka Egbuka goes down in the second quarter of this game. And still, Baker Mayfield lights it up to Kendall Johnson and Tez Johnson. The Johnson duo both score touchdowns in this game against a good Niners defense. Yeah, they're banged up. Yeah, they lost Fred Warner in this game. But the Buccaneers are balling. They are rolling. And it's hard for me to argue against them being the best team in the league right now. So we'll see how it continues to play out for them, but I'm willing to throw them up there. The Bills lost, the Lions lost. They were kind of next up there, and I wasn't ready to move the Chiefs all the way up there. We'll talk about the Chiefs in a little bit. The Colts, were just behind them in my power rankings last week at number 5, and they move up to number 3. So I just like the Bucs. Number 1 in my power rankings are the Buccaneers at 5-1. The Detroit Lions are number 2. The Indianapolis Colts are number 3. The Broncos move up to number 4, ahead of the Eagles, and then the Eagles are at number 5 to round out the top 5 there. Go check out all of the rankings on ProFootballInsiders.com sometime on Tuesday when they will be published, and you can see where your team lands there. But for now, the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL, in my opinion, and that is my first take here. Take number 2. Bear with me here, hear me out, but the Cowboys are the fun version of the Cleveland Browns in 2025. And you're gonna sit there and say, no, the Browns are 1-5. The Cowboys at least have been competitive in most of their games. But the reason I think that they're very similar is the fact that, or the reason I think that they kind of mirror each other is the fact that it's all one side of the ball for both of these teams. And for Cleveland, it's all defense. The defense is the only thing that is clicking to any degree, and they're clicking well. I mean, the Steelers took them to task in the second half of this last week, and they they gave up 41 points to the Ravens. They gave up like 35 points, I think, to the Lions at some point this year. So, like, the scoring defense, they're not great, but down to down, this defense is one of the toughest in the league. They really are. They made things rough on the Steelers for 2.5 quarters before they just ran out of gas because the offense can't do anything. And that's been the story here for the Browns. It's ugly. It's not fun to watch. The defense is really good. The offense sucks. And it sucks the life out of that stadium. It sucks the life out of this team. And they can't win ball games. Conversely, the Dallas Cowboys offense is just lights out dynamic. CeeDee Lamb isn't even playing right now, and they're scoring points at will with reckless abandon against everybody. Against good defenses like the Packers, against bad defenses like the Carolina Panthers this week. But their defense can't stop a nosebleed. And so, yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch. It's a lot of fun to see George Pickens hurdling people and taking slant routes 45 yards to the house for touchdowns and putting up 160, 170 yards receiving and scoring touchdowns in six touchdowns over the last 5 games. And the run game is cooking, and Dak Prescott could be the MVP of the league right now, like the front runner there, if they were actually winning ball games, but they're not. So the Dallas Cowboys, this take is that the Dallas Cowboys are the fun version of the Cleveland Browns right now in 2025. And it's not going well in the win-loss column for either team as well as they would have liked. The Cowboys are in it. But when you look at the teams in the league where one side of the ball is most clearly defined as the better unit than the other side of the ball, to me, those two teams right now are the Cowboys and the Browns. And it's funny because the Cowboys have been compared to another AFC team a lot, AFC North team, that is, in the Bengals from last year. So everybody's making that comparison. I want to throw a little different wrench at you there. That was take number 2. Take number 3. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Kansas City Chiefs edition. Talked about them at the top of the show, how they ran roughshod to a degree over the Detroit Lions, who were the number 1 team in my power rankings last week. The Chiefs are still dealing with injuries, especially on offense. But they found a running game this week against Detroit. And Patrick Mahomes has turned it back, people. I mean, I think he's QB2 in fantasy right now, or QB3. And the rushing is there. The insane off-schedule plays. I mean, he doesn't make many plays on schedule. When you watch the game, he's running all over the place. But it's indefensible. You cannot cover these receivers and these tight ends long enough to make it not worth it for Mahomes to just kind of run all over the place. He's the best in the world at it, continues to be. The Chiefs don't even have their best playmaker on offense yet. They're getting him back this next week. They got back to 3-3 after a couple bad losses, including last week against the Jaguars. The more things change, the more every time we think that the Chiefs might fall into something that they can't get out of, that they can't possibly find a way to get to the winning side of it, they always do. They have done so for the last 8 years under Patrick Mahomes. They're doing it again this year. I am making the prediction right now that they will be the number 1 team in my power rankings at some point again this season, because they are not going anywhere. Kansas City Chiefs, the more things change, the more they stay the same. They are going to be a part of our lives, whether we like it or not. Chiefs fans, I know you like it. I know you like to hear stuff like this. The rest of the AFC, I'm a Steelers fan, right? Don't like to hear this, but it's happening, and you can bank on it. That was take number 3. Take number 4, I wanted to dive into this NFC West, and we can kind of throw out the Arizona Cardinals. They were my dumpster fire of the week last week. They lose again this week. It's a lot closer than a lot of people were predicting. I said it last week on this show. I was like, the Cardinals, they had just an awful game last week. They're probably going to come back out next week and show us that they're better than that. And they did. They gave the Colts all they could handle this week. And the Colts number 3 in my power rankings this week. But in the NFC West, you've got 3 4-2 teams. You've got the 49ers, the Rams, and the Seahawks. The Seahawks right now are playing the best out of all 3 of those teams. They're the most complete team right now. Offense is clicking with Sam Darnold and JSN just lighting up the league. The defense, they give up some points, I guess, but they're pretty shut down for a lot of the game. They have a low EPA per play allowed. They're efficient. They're hard to run against. They're hard to pass against. They're well coached. They're just always in position. So Seattle is a tough play, and they're probably the best in that division right now. I've got them ranked the highest of the teams in that division. Currently, I've got them at 7 in my power rankings, up 2 spots from number 9 last week, just behind the Buffalo Bills and the Philadelphia Eagles. And, if things continue, they'll probably jump in both of those teams here soon. But I've got them at 7, the Rams at 8 right behind them. And then I had to drop the San Francisco 49ers from 7 to 11 this week because of the injuries and the loss. If they could get healthy, they're going to be fine. They were my pick for the division champion to start or before the season started. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to predict the winner of this division, how things sit right now with these 3 teams all tied at 4-2. And I'm changing it up. I'm not going to stick with the Niners because some of their players aren't going to get healthy. Like Nick Bosa, he's out for the year. And, Fred Warner goes down in this game. It's an ankle or a knee. I can't remember which one specifically, but it sounds like he's going to be out for a while. And we don't know how long that is, but if he's out for anything longer than a couple, 3 games, that totally changes the entire structure of that defense, and it's going to be tough for them to keep winning and keep putting together good defensive performances. The Bucs put up 30 points against them this week without Fred Warner in the lineup for about half that game. Changing it up. I'm no longer saying that the 49ers are going to win the division. I'm going with the Seahawks. I think that this has real staying power. The Seattle Seahawks, what they are building, the Sam Darnold to Jackson Smith and Jigba connection is lighting up football to a degree that nobody could have predicted. Nobody, even the staunchest, most diehard of Seattle Seahawks fans were not out there saying, oh, Sam Darnold is going to be a top 5 quarterback in the league this year, and he's going to he's going to put JSN on the map. JSN's going to be the offensive player of the year in the NFL. And there's just no question about it. That's what's going to happen here. Nobody was talking like that. Nobody. I don't know what that voice was. It's not just random Seattle fan. I don't know if that's what they talk like out in Washington. So forgive me. Forgive me for that. But, Seattle, they're my pick at this point because I think that they have what it takes on offense to keep up with the best teams in the league right now, the way they're playing, the way they're being constructed, and the play calling. Clint Kubiak's been amazing. It's cohesive. It's brilliant. It's cutting edge in a lot of ways, and it just looks really good. And then, the Rams are probably a close second for me. I just don't know if the Niners are going to get healthy. I don't. I have serious concerns about that. They're never healthy. So why would I expect them to get there at some point? Brandon Ayuk, supposed to come back in a couple weeks. He's scrubbing the 49ers mentions out of his social media again. I mean, there's a lot of narratives around this team that do not feel like they're going to be winning this division. So I could be wrong. I probably could stick with my pick there. I'm switching to the Seahawks. And, the Rams are in the mix, obviously. But they're still finding themselves. 17-3 over the Ravens this week the defense was fine, but it was the Ravens minus their entire identity, which is Lamar Jackson. So you can't really say that the Rams shut down a good offense this week. And then they only put up 17 points against one of the most banged up defenses in the league. I know they lost Puka Nacua for a portion of this game, and if Puka Nacua can't stay healthy, that changes things there too, and he hasn't proven that he can stay healthy. So right now, the team I think that has the most staying power is the Seattle Seahawks, and I'm going to ride with them as my pick right now for the NFC West of the 3 teams that are 4-2. So that was take number 4, and take number 5, as we always do, my playoff lock of the week. That article is out on Pro Football Insiders already, and it is those Tampa Bay Buccaneers that I moved up into number 1 overall. I have locked up so far the Philadelphia Eagles, did them in week 3. That feels a little strained right now. I think they're going to be okay, but right now it feels a little rough, so I am a little nervous about that one. Locked up the Buffalo Bills in week 2. I know they just lost to Atlanta. They're 4-2. The Patriots, I think, are in the lead in that division actually right now. Which is funny because the Patriots beat them head-to-head last week. But I think the Bills will rally. I think they'll be fine. They've got to figure out some stuff on defense. I think they will to a degree, and I think they will be able to make a run still in the AFC. They've got a lot of big games coming up against teams that they're going to have to compete against for in the playoffs and everything. They've got the Chiefs coming up. They've got the Steelers. So they've got some big games to play, but I think that they'll be fine. And then I locked up the Lions last week. If I lock you up, you're going to lose the next week, folks. So sorry, Buccaneers fans, your team's going to lose next week. I think they have a good game too next week. We'll get to that here in a second. Let me see if I can pull it up while we're talking about it here. Buccaneers, are they at home? Or are they on the road? Oh yeah, Monday Night Football against the Lions. That's right. I knew it was a big one. So Monday Night Football against the Lions. Sorry guys, you're going down because I locked you up for the playoffs. But the Buccaneers division, the Falcons won again today, but the Saints are bad. They're 1-5. The Panthers are they're okay. They're 3-3. but I think the Buccaneers are clearly the best team in the division. I think their schedule's manageable over the next or towards the end of the season specifically. They do have a couple tough games because they always get first place schedules, but they've already played the Eagles. That was their one loss this year so far. They get the Lions here. You have to, like their chances against other marquee teams in the conference because they're playing so well. So the Buccaneers are my lock of the week. So far I've got 3 NFC teams locked and 1 AFC team. And if the Chiefs get Rashee Rice back this next week, let's see, they're not on bye, are they? Nope, they're not. The Ravens and the Bills are on bye next week. The Chiefs get the Raiders. They get Rashee Rice back and they get the Raiders. They're going to be 4-3 after next week. They're probably going to be my next lock, but we will see on that. All right. That was take 5. Take number 1, the Buccaneers are the best team in the NFL. Take number 2, the Cowboys are the fun Browns in 2025. Take number 3, the more things change, the more they stay the same. The Chiefs are going to be here. They've got the staying power. Take number 4, picking the Seattle Seahawks, changing my pick from the Niners to the Seahawks in the NFC West. And the Buccaneers are the playoff lock of the week. That was take number 5. Let's get into the week 7 look ahead here. You've got some good matchups. Obviously, you've got the Steelers-Bengals on Thursday night. The Steelers have never won a Thursday night game against a division rival on the road since it became a thing. They never have. And under Mike Tomlin, obviously, then that makes them winless there as well. Doesn't matter who. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Doesn't matter what that team's record is. They have never won on the road. So I have very low expectations for Thursday Night Football. They would have to break a multitude of trends to win this game. Maybe they can do it. We'll see. That's not even close to one of the games of the week. You've got Rams at, this is the London game. You've got Rams at Jaguars in London, and they're both 4-2. This would appear to be a fun matchup. We'll see how that plays out. That's probably one of the games of the week. Eagles-Vikings is pretty intriguing with how the Eagles have been playing and the Vikings coming off a bye, what Brian Flores can do and the struggles for that offense so far in Philadelphia. So that one's very interesting. You've got Colts and Chargers. That's a big-time game. Looking forward to that one. You got the 3-2 Falcons going to San Francisco to play the 4-2 Niners. So the Falcons coming off big wins and the Niners reeling a little bit from those injuries still. And then you've got another Monday night football doubleheader. And at least this one's the 7 o'clock and 10 o'clock, not staggered starts, but like finish one game, start the next game. I don't like these staggered starts. I'd rather stay up till 1 p.m. or 1 a.m. on the East Coast and watch that second game. And both of those games are bangers. I mean, Buccaneers at Lions for the 7 o'clock one on ESPN and ABC. And then the 10 o'clock game on ESPN is Texans at Seahawks. Can the Texans ride some of that momentum coming off their bye, play a red-hot Seahawks team? Those are two really fun games. So looking forward to all of that. Obviously, I'll be tuning in heavily on Thursday Night Football this week, but watching all the games, keeping track of everything here on the Betz Talks Ball YouTube channel and Pro Football Insiders, where you can catch all of my stuff. Obviously, we've got some injuries we're watching. We talked about a couple of those: Puka Nacua, Fred Warner. There's several others out there that will need to be tracking, so stay tuned for fantasy purposes. I've got several fantasy articles that come out throughout the week. I do a DFS perfect lineup if you're looking into DFS. I also do my top 10 players at each position for each week, so check that out and get those guys in your lineup. Hoping to get that out before Thursday Night Football every week. That's been the goal. So that is the week 7 look ahead, and that's a wrap on episode 2 of the Betz Talks Ball show here. And I appreciate all of you who tune in and listen. Please, please, please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share it with your friends, with family, with sports fans in your life. I'd love to grow this thing. Obviously, it would be a lot of fun to interact with you guys as well. So hit me up on X. You can see, can't point. Where we at? Right there. Mirrored screen here. Right there. At the Betz 93 is my Twitter handle. My handle is the same everywhere. Instagram, TikTok. I'm not on there yet. I probably should get on there. Probably should do that. You can obviously I put a lot of the short clips from these videos out on my YouTube channel as well, so you can see some of those. So give me a follow on socials. Give me a follow on the channel. A subscription there. We really would appreciate it. And stay tuned to Pro Football Insiders, Fans for Sports Network, Steel Curtain Network, all the stuff I do with all of that. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Betz Talks Ball. For now, Betz out.